where's the puck going? What do you think the future is of journey mapping?
The future, there's kind of two traditional criticisms of customer journey mapping. One is journeys are complex and it's difficult to show that complexity on a two-dimensional visualization. The other classic complaint is, your journey map is out of date as soon as you make it because customers and experiences are always changing.
Hi, I'm Matt Egol, host of the CX and Culture Connection, the podcast for leaders looking to drive impact by focusing on customer experience and culture together. I'm excited to talk today with Dave Seaton, who is the CEO and principal consultant of Seaton CX and has a unique approach to customer journey mapping. And Dave's also someone I'm excited to be collaborating with on a community we're launching with others called CX on the Rocks. You can find more about the community at www.cxontherocks.com. Thanks so much for joining today, Dave.
I am happy to be here, Matt. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to have you on the podcast, and I know it's going to have a lot of really interesting insights and actionable approaches for our audience. Just to get us started, maybe tell us a little bit more about why you decided to hang a shingle and launch Seaton CX.
Well, it's been said before, entrepreneurship is not a rational act. And so anyone who would quit their job, have another baby, and launch a company in the middle of a global pandemic is maybe just a little bit crazy. But people make big life changes, I've found, for a couple of reasons. One, they're trying to escape something that's negative in their life, or they're trying to pursue something that they perceive will be positive in their life. And my decision was a little bit of both. I know you talk a lot about company culture on this podcast, and I came to a place where I didn't appreciate the way that my company was treating me. And when you're in a situation like that and you choose to stay, it sends a message that it's okay to treat you that way. So I had made the decision that I was leaving the company I'd been with for almost 15 years. And I really looked at the opportunity that was out there to help other companies in other industries improve both their customer experience and their business results. And I got really excited about that. I had been in B2B tech for 21 years, and I wanted to kind of see the world, go work in some other industries, see how other companies operate. And over the last 4 years, I've had that opportunity. I've worked in everything from utilities to nonprofits to early childhood education to cybersecurity to insurance. And it's just been incredible seeing how these principles of customer experience management and customer journey mapping apply across all industries, all customers, from B2B to B2C to B2B2C, and everything in between.
That really resonates with me. I left PwC after many years as a partner because I wanted to have more impact and work with all different kinds of companies. So when you're at a big consulting firm, you tend to focus on the Fortune 1000, on the biggest companies. And I worked across industries myself. I started in retail consumer, then broadened over time, kind of working on experience and culture with a lot of different companies. But I was working with the biggest companies, and I really wanted to work with earlier stage and high growth companies. So, and I had a chance to do some of that at PwC, but not focus on it, right? And so I left, and I formed JourneySpark to be able to have fun and more impact working with all different kinds of companies like you do. And that's part of why I'm so excited to be in this community together to help serve a broader base of clients together and help have impact for them and coach coach them and help them meet their goals through a community of experts like we're part of.
Isn't that so interesting how fun and impact tend to go together?
Well, I mean, purpose is, like, what's your why? What's your purpose? It energizes you. I like to think culture is about energy. Your energy is either brought up or brought down. And like having fun, doing what you love to do. Imagine that. You feel purpose-led and you enjoy it. You have more impact.
Absolutely.
I've heard you talk about, why journey mapping efforts fall flat. And what are some of the risks or things to overcome? Like, what are some of the reasons why journey mapping efforts can go off the rails? And how does your approach provide for better change management?
Yeah, if you look at the statistics over years, Matt, I mean, CXPA in 2016 found that about half of journey maps don't drive any change in the organization. Gartner did a report in 2018 or 2019 that again found the same thing. Only 47% of journey maps were successful. On the other side of the pandemic, the Technology Services Industry Association found that only about half of companies created journey maps, and of those that did, only about half of those were actually used. And so we've got this concept called a journey map that means a lot of different things to different people. I mean, one CRM vendor has a YouTube video out there that says you can create a customer journey map in 1 hour. You just get together some people in a conference room and map it out and you're done. And I've found that there are 3 reasons why half of these journey mapping efforts fail. Number one, and the biggest reason, is they're created from internal knowledge, not real customer insight. And so, like the CRM's YouTube video, they get some people in a room, they map out what they already know, they pat themselves on the back, and they haven't learned anything new that's going to help them improve their business, improve the customer experience.
There's no spark of insight. Yeah.
We can call that an assumptive map. We can call that a hypothesis map. There's some value in that activity. In fact, we'll get to it in a minute. We do some of that in step 2 of my journey mapping process. But if you never go validate that with customers, if you never go get that customer insight, then you haven't learned anything new. So that's one reason. Second reason these journey mapping initiatives fail is they're not aligned with the company's strategic plan. It's January, it's goal setting season for many companies. I'm doing a lot of writing about company goals out on LinkedIn and in my email list. And if your customer experience effort, whether that's journey mapping or customer listening, whatever it is, if you're not aligned with the goals that the company's trying to accomplish that year, you're going to be rowing in the opposite direction. You're not going to
It's easier to ski downhill, to switch metaphors on
you. Exactly. So
you're in the mountains, you can appreciate that.
I'm working with a client now. Their big goal for 2025 is cross-sells. In 2024, they migrated their customers from an on-prem solution to a cloud solution. In 2025, they're focused on cross-sells. So we are going to dive deep into the ownership journey and understand what are those critical moments in the ownership journey where customers decide, yeah, I'm going to buy more modules, or no, I'm never buying anything from this company again.
What's the third one?
The third reason is it's not actionable insight. So through the journey mapping process, everyone in customer experience is very empathetic. We're going to learn some really interesting things about customers. Not all of those are actionable. Not all of those help tell the customer's story in a way that's going to inspire action and change in the organization.
That's really interesting. I'm geek out for a second, one of the things I like to do is read books and review them and share those with, sometimes I have the authors on the podcast, right? And one of the books I'm reading right now by some Stanford professors, it's not a new book, but one of my guests, David Friedman, who was on recently, shared a book called The Knowing Doing Gap, which I really am enjoying reading. I'm going to do a review for. But it's the basic concept of the book is why do we, so many things that people make a decision to do it, and they think it's a good idea, don't get implemented, which is really what you're talking about. It's like the difference between knowing or having an idea and acting, and doing. And like they had a whole study about all the reasons why things don't happen. And what it really boils down to is there's a difference between making a decision and taking action. Or as Seinfeld used to say, there's a difference between taking the reservation and keeping the reservation, right? So, I think there's a lot of this. This is, by the way, why culture eats strategy for breakfast. When people talk about that, is that the behavior in the organization is what matters. And so if you have insights and you don't turn them into action, or you have ideas and you don't focus on the behaviors to implement that, you don't get results.
If buy-in were enough, or if making a decision were enough to drive change, then New Year's resolutions would have 100% success rate. Everyone is bought in and committed on January 1st, but it's the action, the consistent daily incremental progress to achieving that goal that makes the difference.
Yeah, and I like where you're going also with the alignment. I find that, that the CX and culture connection shows up in a number of ways. One is the behaviors of your employees are often what deliver those emotional peaks along the journey. So your culture actually directly impacts customer experience, as well as indirectly impacts it because the way people collaborate and work together in the organization increases your effectiveness at implementing experiences. But the direct one is how your employees show up. The other thing is that the strategy and then your brand promise has to get translated into an actual experience that delivers on that. And what you're doing with journey maps is helping people understand, is our experience actually congruent with our brand and our strategy? And if you have something you're focused on that you want to make sure you're delivering more of, shine a light on that and don't solve everything at once. Solve that, and you can eat the apple with multiple bites.
Yeah, one of the analogies I encourage people to be a journey surgeon. So a surgeon doesn't just try and fix everything at once. They do the most minimally invasive procedure that's going to have the biggest impact on whatever health issue. And that's where we begin improving journeys, is what are those critical moments where we can make the smallest change that's going to have the biggest impact for customers and for the company.
I find that the journey map is an amazing launching off point to drive change. So like one thing you do is when you use the journey, you can pinpoint where are the peaks in the journey and what do you have to do to deliver that peak, either employee behaviors, better physical or digital experience. Like what are you doing to create that peak more consistently? And then you can drive the culture to reinforce that, or pick things to redesign, whether it's a website or a process or a new product, like pick something to make that peak better. So the journey is the window into what to work on, where to focus.
And I love that because so many journey maps only focus on the friction points, where the experience is bad. And there's definitely value in that, but also capturing those peaks where the company did something that really mattered to the customer. And how do we systematize that and replicate that so that becomes part of the way we do business?
To build on your point here about chasing pain points or, break fix, you don't get to great by draining pain. That's called getting to met, right? Like, you can I'm not discounting like cumulative improvements can add up, but you have to get above average eventually to be great, right? So just getting to average is not the goal. Although if you have a lot of pain, I'm not discounting that has a cost, but that won't make you great. That'll make you less bad, right? And what I find is really powerful with the journey map, and then you'll share more about your methodology, I'm sure, is it allows you to pick those emotional moments. What are the peaks, and understand what are the emotions you want. And it's actually more important in your customer listening and your experience design to focus on delivering those emotions than just chasing a survey score. In fact, you can weave the emotions into your survey to make it a better survey.
Absolutely. We capture from our customer interviews, from the research, those emotions that customers are experiencing at each stage of the journey. And there's three elements to an experience. Success, did the customer accomplish their goal? Effort, how easy was it to accomplish their goal? But we all know the biggest factor is the emotion. How did they feel as they went on that journey to accomplish their goal? And one map, I remember we were mapping the experience of a residential internet customer. One of our personas was the work from homer. And when that internet goes down while that person is working, they're afraid. There is a big fear. One of their customers was a remote contact center agent. She was logged out of the phone system. She was not getting paid. She was facing disciplinary action. And now this idea of an internet outage has gone from a technical problem to an emotional experience that's impacting that customer's very livelihood.
I'm going to get in a minute to your DARMA method, but one thing I want to encourage the audience to first is if you like the content that we're talking about, be sure to like and subscribe. Don't miss an episode. Check out some of the other episodes. You can also go to www.cxandcultureconnection.com if you want to see other episodes in my book. And given what we're talking about, you'll find other things around how to build insights, what the importance of emotion. But what Dave's bringing here today is some really practical and very, very powerful approaches to journey mapping we're going to dive into and I'm excited to be partnering to leverage your expertise on the work I'm doing with clients on journey mapping and to deliver value to the community members together.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about your DARMA method for customer journey mapping. What makes it unique and more impactful to drive impact?
When I started journey mapping 6 years ago, and I was a CX practitioner, I wanted to learn about it. You had to read these 3 books, certain chapters of them, join the secret society and go to this forum and download some examples. It was like the dark arts. And I really believe that lack of a consistent process is driving some of these failures in journey mapping projects. And so I have a structured problem-solving background, Lean Six Sigma, very analytical, very process-oriented. And one day I woke up and said, you know what? That's what journey mapping needs. It needs a 5-step process that everyone can follow. And then that's how DARMA was born. So DARMA, it's just an acronym for the 5 steps in the journey mapping process. 1, D, define the opportunity. Why are you setting about on this endeavor to map the customer journey? And that's where you must ladder back to the company's strategic plan. You must align with the CEO's goals. The second step, A, is for analyze. Analyze the current state. Let's gather all the internal knowledge, everything we already think we know about customers, and put it together. That may be a hypothesis map, that may be some statistical analysis. Let's learn everything we already think we know and develop those hypotheses of what we think the customer journey is like. Step 3 is research. We're going to go out and research with real live customers about their experience. And so we take everything we learned in the analyze phase, use that to develop our research instruments so that we can gather the deepest insights possible. After research comes map. It is only at this stage that we begin to map the journey, and we're visualizing what we've learned from the research. What are those customer personas that emerged? What are the steps in their journey? We're not filling out some template we downloaded from the internet, trying to fill in boxes. Oh, what do we put in the awareness box? No, we're mapping what we learned from customers. And we're including things that customers do on their journey that may not be direct interactions with our company. Were they waiting? How did they feel when they were waiting? In the case of B2C, did they talk to a friend or neighbor? What was that like? Did they read online reviews? So M is map. And then step 5, the second A is to act on the insights, to take everything you've learned in this journey mapping process and go do something about it. Creating a customer journey map's like getting an MBA in your customers, but just like higher education, if you don't use it, it was a really expensive investment that went nowhere.
The act of going through it helps build insights and alignment and commitment to take action if you follow all 5 steps. And what you're highlighting is that you're bringing different perspectives to the table and you're not rushing to some templated approach. You're allowing the insights to take shape with the internal and external insights that you're gathering.
And you're honing in on something else. I've called it the hidden step. I've called it step 5.5. It's not really a step on its own that has a beginning and an end and a sequence, but it's change management. And it weaves through all 5 steps of DARMA. You're engaging your stakeholders when you define that opportunity. You're bringing them to the table when you analyze the current state. They're observing or participating in the research. They're giving feedback on the map. They're saying, yeah, that's what I heard when I observed that interview. And then they're committing to ideate on solutions and take action on those insights. They're prioritizing them according to effort and impact, and then actually going and implementing the changes. That change management is so important, and you've got to start at the very beginning. You can't just create a map in your little silo and then go dump it on stakeholders and expect them to trust it, believe in it, understand it, and take action on it. Involve them all along the way.
I love that you start with defining the link to value and to the strategic alignment, because the way you develop and apply the journey map will be much more useful if you start with that in mind, so that you know that the insights you're developing and the recommendations and actions you're agreeing on are aligned to some clearly defined value objective and strategic goal.
Absolutely.
What I find is the journey map is a very powerful launching off point that should be part of the kind of the strategic alignment. I often think of ideate, test, and scale. When you're ideating, the journey map is key to help drive the right ideation. And then you're picking places to test and what to scale along the journey. But if you don't have the right insights up front from the journey, it's really ready, fire, aim. It's a horrible way to make choices.
It is. And I've seen, unfortunately, many examples where a company invested significantly to improve a process that may have helped the company operate more efficiently, but actually sub-optimized the customer experience, created more friction, more effort, and made it more difficult for the customer to accomplish the goal. So you've got to bring in that voice of the customer to inform how you make those changes.
Where's the puck going? What do you think the future is of journey mapping?
The future So one of the there's kind of two traditional criticisms of customer journey mapping. One is that journeys are complex and it's difficult to show that complexity on a two-dimensional visualization. The other classic complaint is, well, your journey map is out of date as soon as you make it because customers and experiences are always changing. To that second criticism, I say, I've never seen a company that can change so quickly that the journey map is out of date inside of a year. Change is slow in big organizations. It takes time. But where I see the future going with software, technology, automation, artificial intelligence, is I see the transition from these two-dimensional maps into multi-dimensional models. So it's kind of the difference between a map, a world map, and a globe that has the mountains coming out of the globe. Except I believe the future of journey mapping has more than three dimensions. It's actually multi-dimensional, because with the software, we can link journey maps, we can bring in real-time feedback, we can link our voice of the customer in and create these multi-dimensional models that are themselves an experience for executives and stakeholders who need to learn about the customer journey to make better business decisions.
When I was a partner at PwC, I helped create an offering called Return on Experience, Dave. And I had a number of articles about return on experience that I published. And with my partner, Sujay Saha, we wrote a number of articles and built that practice. And the reason I bring it up is because it was a system of metrics that allowed you to think about your return on experience. It's not one metric like an NPS or CSAT or customer effort score. Those can be useful depending on your D. What's your objective, what you're trying to do in DARMA. And if you pick one of them and run with it, it can be useful if you do all the other steps. But it actually requires a more holistic system thinking type view, which is really, what are you trying to do? How are you trying to create value? I like to think that there's like three basic ways a company create value. You can be better, faster, or cheaper. And, what the choices you're making strategically, this is your D in DARMA, right? The choices you're making will tend to align to one of these more than the others. And you're really driving in within better, within faster, within cheaper. And there's a big hole in the tent. You need all three, but you pick one that you're really majoring in on, and that drives your objectives. Your brand positioning, your brand promise, the customer experience that delivers on your brand, they all align to one or more of those in a certain way. And it shows up in the journey. Where in the journey am I delivering better? Where in the journey, how am I delivering faster? Be specific in the journey. Where am I delivering? So this is a complement. I'm not saying better, faster, cheaper replaces the journey map. It actually creates focus for it. And in fact, if you understand your better, faster, cheaper, and how to align your culture to it, and how to align your customer listening to it, we have a suite of 3 tools at JourneySpark for strategic alignment, cultural alignment, and voice of the customer. This is actually best done as a complement to a journey mapping exercise. Otherwise, you don't know what experiences to design, what processes to change, what behaviors to drive. So I would encourage anyone who's interested in learning more about the DARMA method and how journey mapping goes together with other elements we've talked about, like how do you drive culture and behaviors, and how do you drive the right choices for better, faster, cheaper. Talk to us, reach out to us, have a conversation, and I think you have an approach to get going with people really easily. Do you want to share that with folks?
I do. I call it a journey map jumpstart. So if you've never gotten your journey mapping initiative out of the garage, or it's kind of broken down on the side of the road, and you just need that jump start to get it going again, I've got a free 20-minute call. We'll confidentially look at what you've got, even if it's nothing, and identify your next best action for leading journey mapping in your organization. So you can just go to my website, SeatonCX.com. You can book it through there. You can contact me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, just Dave Seaton, and would be happy to sit down with any of your listeners for 20 minutes and just help boost that practice of journey mapping in the industry. This 50% failure rate, it's got to go. So I am committed to helping elevate that practice in our industry.
That's fantastic. I definitely endorse for the audience to check it out and spend the time with Dave, and it'd be time well spent. Another way folks can learn more and get involved is to join the CX on the Rocks community. You can also, go to www.cxontherocks.com or reach for one of us if you want to learn more about the community on LinkedIn or email. And we'll be happy to tell you more about what we're doing. But why don't we spend a few minutes on why we got involved in the community and how people can engage to learn more about how to apply some of these opportunities by getting involved.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about, I think it's called the CX on the Rocks Collective now. We're still there. There's a bunch of us that are involved with Sean Albertson building this community. And it really, what I am excited about it is it fills a need that exists in our industry for people in those upper career levels of customer experience management and related functions to come together, get the community support from each other, as well as learn from experts like you if they have a culture question. We've got people from the contact center in the panel of experts. I'm one of them for journey mapping. So there's great resources for people who are navigating those careers and often have no one internally to collaborate with. And I wish that this had existed back in 2019 when I was in a similar role. I'm glad we're building it now. And especially after what we've seen in 2024 with the layoffs, the job cuts, the breaking apart of CX teams and giving those responsibilities to the functional silos in the organization, the rise of generative AI. How are we going to deal with that monster? How is that going to affect customer experiences? We've already got in the news some examples of ruined customer experiences as well as improved customer experiences. So there's a lot of rapid change and innovation going on in our industry, and I'm very excited for this community or collective that we're building.
Yeah, it's a collective, and it's an opportunity for the members to engage with each other and to get coaching from the experts, and then identify where they want to focus their effort among the with each other and the network of experts supporting them. So I've definitely reached out for us. We're happy to help be your Sherpas in the community and help you navigate a good experience as part of the collective. So definitely reach out if you want to learn more. Go to the website I mentioned. In the last few minutes, Dave, I'd like to revisit some of the things you were just talking about around the disruptions with AI and link it back to opportunities to not change the journey map, but leverage it to get more value and drive impact in their organizations. And, what are some of the, ways that you see to use AI to kind of take action and do things, leveraging either to build insights in the journey map or to take action based on what you come up with?
One of the ways that I'm leveraging AI right now in journey mapping is analyzing the customer interviews. One of the biggest problems with qualitative research, especially if you're doing it internally, within your company is bias, confirmation bias. And that is that natural human tendency to place greater importance on facts that reinforce our own opinions and less importance on facts that may go contrary to our opinions. So it's one of the big reasons to bring in an external partner for your customer research and your journey mapping is because they don't have those biases that exist within the company. AI takes that to another level. So my interview team, we're conducting the interviews, we're recording them, we're providing our own expert analysis, but I'm also taking those transcripts and putting them into a privacy-protected, safe AI. They're not going into public chat GPT. Don't worry about that. But I have a sandboxed AI where we're also using the AI to generate insights as a check against our own confirmation bias.
That's fantastic. And, this is akin to what people have been doing using open questions and surveys to mine it with AI, or mining social media or call center verbatims to basically synthesize it faster and generate summaries. Now we can actually, I mentioned the diagnostic tools like Better, Faster, Cheaper. Well, I use AI to synthesize the open-ended questions as well as the interviews that you do, so you can deliver more value faster without the bias. So I totally endorse what you're saying, Dave. Another thing that I think is really fun now is once you identify the moments in the journey that you want to focus on and the personas, for example, you can supercharge your listening with AI to mine all the conversations rather than just have a survey. So we both talked about really modernizing your customer listening. And another thing that's super fun, we talked a lot more about journeys than personas. I think, by the way, if you have to pick one of the two, you pick the journey. But a persona is a way to really understand how to experience the journey through the eyes of a particular customer and what emotions they're feeling. And one of the things I like to do is identify the attributes of the persona and link that to customer lifetime value. And then once you know the attributes of your persona, this is really cool. You can mine all of the conversations with your customer, whether it's a call center, an email. You can now record video calls. There's a lot more digital footprints. You can actually map customers to your personas based on your interactions with them using AI, which allows you to target and have real-time engagement based on your personas. But also, we can now generate content through the eyes of your personas for a particular moment in the journey. And what I found is it's 2 to 3x the ROI if you target the right moment in the journey through the eyes of your personas. And you can do this with an AI at like a fraction of the cost it used to take an agency to do this.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So the way to get started, you can't do this without the journey.
Right.
So start with the journey, and then we're happy to help you work through what are you going to do to create lots of value based on that aligns to your strategic objective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Any last closing words of wisdom for the audience?
If you can change your organization into this journey thinking mindset, it'll revolutionize your business performance. If you can change the organization to think from this journey thinking mindset, it'll revolutionize your business performance.
It's a way of acting your way into a new approach, get people to go through the DARMA process, go through the journey process, and start applying it, build that habit building, that muscle, and it'll change the way people think and work. You'll drive a lot of impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely sparked a lot of great ideas for me. I hope you have sparked ideas and energy for action for the audience. And really looking forward to having the conversations together with folks when they reach out.
Me too, Matt. Thanks for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure.